You know, pre-arrangements here at Hippensteel, we will sit down with the family, and really what we try to do is we try to gather information about their biographical statistics, you know, where they're from and the types of things that they've done throughout their life, whether that be through civic organizations, whether that be years of employment, you know. Sit down with them and go through information that we can use to prepare a newspaper notice if that's what the family wishes to have, but also to be able to sit down and really plan for their actual funeral ceremony, and you know, to be able to get ideas of how we can make that appropriate to them, not only to them but also to their family and their children. You know, the specifics involved with you know, the presentation and whether or not there's to be any type of meal or dinner following. Really just to sit down and explore all the options that are available to a family. I just recently finished up pre-arrangements with the family this morning, and they came in apprehensive, and you know, they weren't really sure what they wanted to have done for this particular gentleman, and by the end of it, you know, we were all laughing and joking, and what they didn't understand was the value in this is that he was able to pick out the music that he wanted for his ceremony that best represented him. He was able to discuss what his final wishes were. He was able to say, okay, this is what I want and this is what I prefer not to have. And you know, really his wife, by the end of it, you know, she looked at him and she said, I had no idea you felt that way. And so I think that's the greatest value that we find in our pre-arrangement process, is to be able to explore all the different ideas and options, but to really just have down what it is and how you'd like to have your final memory be. No one knows when that final day and that final hour is going to come. And we see all too often the younger people that pass before us. And so I think it's crucial for people of our age, not only to plan for what we want as a part of our ceremony. I think that's important for individuals our age. But unfortunately for us, we have to be concerned with the finances behind this, because if I'm not here tomorrow, you know, how will I see that my kids are taken care of as far as an education and as far as all that needs to be provided, or my wife and those types of things. So I think for people of our age, as challenging and as difficult as it is to maybe be able to fund that type of ceremony, I think it's of the utmost importance, you know, to be thinking down the line. Again, that's just part of one of the national progressions that we should think about as husbands and as family men. The one thing that I seem to hear the most is, again, I'm blessed to follow up with nearly every family that I serve here at Hippensteel, and through some of those families follow up with their pre-arrangements. And I think the one thing that I hear from families, and I hear this so often, that you know, it's a bit alarming. And through this grief process that each one of these individuals will follow, we continue to hear, I hope that my husband would have been happy with the choices that I made, or I hope that my wife would have been happy. And so they sit down to make their own arrangements, and they can say, you know, this is what I'd like to have and this is how I'd like it to be carried on. But they almost seem to have a bit of remorse that if only we had talked about this before. If only we had come in and pre-planned, and we hear that a lot. You know, we talked about this for a number of years, but we just never made that next step to come in and do it. And so that's, again, I think that's a part of the greatest value of this pre-arranging, is not just for the individualization and the personalization of our ceremony, but so that a family's grief isn't compounded at that time of loss.